Hello, fellow Econauts, and welcome back to our show. I'm here with my brother Ben, the Rocketman, and today we are talking about the Mir. Hey Ben, how are you?
Hey Simon, hey fellow Econauts. Today is space history, and we are talking about the space station Mir today.
I think I was a little bit surprised to hear you talking so loudly. Uh,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. Uh, well, what is the what? Now I can't stop laughing. Um, First question: what is the Mir?
Well, I mean, I gave it away already when I said the Mir space station. Yeah, it was the first space station constructed by humans, the first space station where we could have a person on board and being in orbit around Earth.
And what happened to the Mir?
So about 22 years ago, the Mir has stopped being used and had been controlled, deorbited into our atmosphere and therefore burned in the atmosphere, and it's not there anymore. So it's small particles now.
What was the impact of the Mir, and what have we learned from it?
And the Mir, in my eyes, had a very significant impact on our society and also on the space economy and space society. Because when you look at when the Mir was actually ideated, constructed, started, and operated, when it started to operate, it was still operated under the Soviet Union, later then by Russia. However, there have been NASA shuttle missions to the Mir. The Mir hosted a number of international astronauts together with the cosmonauts of Russia. So it was the first international collaboration between nations in space. And therefore, the Mir is a beacon why space can unite humanity instead of dividing us further. The Mir also was a stepping stone, learning dish, petri dish, to learn about how to build a space station in the first place. The astronauts and cosmonauts who went to the Mir learned how to operate and assemble parts in space, which has been applied directly when the ISS was constructed. So the Mir is if you want, a predecessor to the ISS. Even the deorbiting, which happened 22 years ago, the stuff, the details they learned in this deorbiting, they will be applied when the ISS will stop being operated and then also phase into the deorbiting maneuver. So all these things, they learned it on the Mir. The Mir also has, as far as I know, still the person with the longest extension being in space, I think with 460 days or something like that. I think that's still the record of being in space. We learned how people can behave and sustain in space in low gravity. You know, that I think the advantages are endless. There's anything you could apply to the ISS. Obviously, the ISS had more modern systems, but only possible because the Mir existed before.
I think what comes to mind is if we compare the Hubble telescope and the James Webb, there have, of course, been significant technical advantages in between those two, and of course, a lot of technical advantages between the Mir and the ISS. And something that we maybe have to underline too is obviously everything that we learned was phase one, you know, um, is helping us to improve phase two. It's helping us to improve phase three. I can see that this stepping stone will also help us with Gateway, will help us with any kind of space station that we will build in the future. Would you agree with that?
100%. So the Gateway is a very good example. I think I mentioned that I think we mentioned that in the ISS episode, but don't quote me on that.
We even have a Gateway episode, by the way.
Yeah, we have also a Gateway episode, but Gateway as a space station around the moon is sort of the final frontier, or not the final, but the next frontier, the next cutting edge. That's where a space agency or space agencies have to work together. Whereas now the low Earth orbit with the Mir, now the ISS, now can be opened up for private companies. Axiom comes to mind. Obviously, also with the constellations, with all the satellites we're building, LEO has become a commercial room where we can now expand and try things with a business case. This will happen eventually as well with the lunar surface. There are predictions that this will happen and start to happen from 2035 onwards from some various business reports. I think McKinsey and Deloitte made that claim that the lunar surface or the lunar economy will become more interesting than LEO, low Earth orbit. But in order to do so, we need now the next stepping stone. And everything we learned, coming back to our topic from the Mir and now also from the ISS, is what we can now apply. And that therefore, this is the fundament, this is the base we needed to get there.
I absolutely agree with you. I think if we look back, what the reasoning behind the space program and also space races used to be to outsmart the other side, so to speak, it's maybe the initiator for all of that. But what I think it's more significant and more interesting, more meaningful, is the fact that all the nations came together and actually were able to, work together to make it happen, to make it prosperous, even better, and make sure that we are pushing forward, because that's the only way we can actually move forward, not only in space but also here on our little blue
Exactly.
planet,
Everything.
right?
That's why I always preach space is not just for the sake of doing new things and cutting edge things and, or because we can. Solving problems in space unites humans. Solving problems in space solves automatically problems we have on Earth, not just politically, also engineering problems, scientific problems, society problems. There's lots of things we can learn when we explore the out of our boundaries, which we currently have. That is why space is important. And I think the Mir, the ISS, Artemis program, the aspiration to go to Mars, SpaceX aspiration to go to Mars as the first private entity, these are the things that actually drive innovation and unity for us as humans.
I absolutely agree, and that's definitely a very interesting point in history to be alive and to experience all that. And I always like to say that that's one of the reasons why we started with the Econauts, to help people to come on board on that, because I
Yeah.
think
Jump aboard the
it's
spacecraft.
jump on board of the space wagon, because we all are going in the same direction. It doesn't, yes, we may need engineers and astronauts to do certain things, but we also need accountants, and we also need
The
like
heavy lifting
for the
for
heavy
the super
lifting,
heavy launches.
for the super look. But we also need like, I would say like, the regular Joe. I don't like to say it this way, but you I hope you get my drift here. And that's also why it's helping a lot. The scientists talking to the non-scientists in that show, right?
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
and to know that we were hitting in the right direction is it's definitely it's nice to be alive at
Nice
this
to see.
point in
Yes, yeah.
time.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
All right, let's wrap it up for today. Otherwise, we're getting too much into a different
As
direction
usual.
as usual. Okay, so if you like that episode and if you learned a little bit, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you always get informed when the next episode is uploaded. If you're not already, set your calendar anyway to it. Leave a comment. We will reply to every comment that we see in time and everything, obviously. And yeah, don't forget that we have also other episodes related to the Mir, but also about Mars and other topics. And we hope you find them also interesting.
Yes, and I will see you next time. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye.